Welcome to Jumbo News Global Recap with me, Tracy Wamboy. Let's take a look at what's been happening throughout the week. As the Catholic Church prepares for the election of a new pope, the process promises to be highly unpredictable. Key candidates include Pietro Parolin, the Italian Secretary of State, seen as frontrunner with strong diplomatic experience. Then there is Luis Antonio Tagle from the Philippines, known as the Asian Francis for his focus on social issues. From Africa, Fridolin Ambogo Besungu, Archbishop of Kinshasa, advocates for cultural conservation while supporting religious plurality. Peter Turkson from Ghana is another prominent figure expressing reluctance for the papacy but holding progressive views on LGBTQ rights. Peter Edro from Hungary is viewed as a compromise candidate, while Reinhard Marx from Germany champions inclusivity but faces scrutiny over past scandals. Mark Howett from Canada, aged 80, has significant experience but will not participate in a conclave due to age. Robert Prevost from the US is seen as a reformer with potential for historic significance. Finally, Robert Sarra from Guinea is a traditionalist, and Pierre Batista Pizzaballa, the Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem, offers unique insights but may be considered too young. As the conclave approaches, the dynamics among the cardinals will be crucial in determining the next leader of the Catholic Church. Stay tuned for updates. Search and rescue teams in Israel have recovered remains after a swimmer was attacked by a shark off the coast of Hadera on Monday. The victim, a 40-year-old man from central Israel, is believed to have been attacked near Olga Beach, where witnesses reported chaos and screams. Sharks typically gather in the area due to warm water discharged by a nearby power plant, but such attacks are extremely rare. Since 1948, there have been no recorded fatal shark attacks in Israeli waters. Police closed the beach while conducting searches, and the remains have been sent to the Institute of Forensic Medicine for identification. Eyewitnesses described a terrific scene, with one stating that he saw blood and there were screams. This incident marks only the fourth documented shark attack in Israel's history. Democratic lawmakers have met with Mahmoud Khalil and Rumesia Oztuk, two students in immigration detention in Louisiana, as the Biden administration seeks to deport them. Khalil, a former Columbia University student, and Oztuk, a Tufts graduate, were detained in March for their pro-Palestinian activism. The lawmakers aim to show support for their free speech rights, noting concerns about cold conditions and inadequate medical care, particularly for Oztuk, who has had asthma attacks. Khalil, a green card holder, faces deportation under a law citing potential adverse foreign policy consequences. Oztuk, a Turkish national, was arrested while walking to a Ramadan meal. Critics argue that the choice of a Louisiana facility is politically motivated to limit their legal support. Lawmakers have demanded explanations from officials regarding these decisions. A federal judge has ordered the Trump administration to restore jobs and funding for the Voice of America and other U.S.-backed news outlets, ruling that the efforts to dismantle them violated the law and constitution. Over 1,300 Voice of Africa employees were placed on leave after President Trump accused the broadcaster of being anti-Trump. Judge Royce Lambert stated that the Voice of America had not stopped reporting for the first time in its 80 years history due to the cuts. he directed the administration to reinstate all affected employees and contractors. The ruling follows a lawsuit from journalists and advocacy groups challenging the legality of the executive order. The White House criticized the judge's decision, alleging interference in their operations. Gaza's Hamas-run health ministry reports over 51,200 Palestinian deaths since the war began, but Israel disputes the figures, claiming they are used for propaganda. The ministry recently removed about 3,000 names from its casualty lists, insisting this was part of a verification process rather than manipulation. Counting methods have changed due to chaotic conditions, with families now using online forms to report deaths. Many bodies remain unaccounted for, particularly under rubble. As casualties continue to rise, Israel estimates a significant number of combatants among the dead. While not disclosing civilian figures, independent verification of these statistics is hindered by restricted access to Gaza for international journalists. Ivory Coast's main opposition leader, Tidjane Thiam, has been removed from the electoral roll, rendering him ineligible to run in the October presidential election. A court ruled that Thiam forfeited his Ivory nationality upon acquiring French citizenship in 1987, despite his recent renunciation of that citizenship. Thiam condemned the ruling as democratic vandalism, claiming it disenfranchises millions of voters and comes as his support grows. He was recently confirmed as the presidential candidate for the Democratic Party. The current governing party, RHDP, has not yet announced its candidate, but President Alain Ouattara is expected to seek a fourth term. Three other prominent figures, including former President Laurent Gbagbo, have also been barred from running. Thiam criticized the ruling as a sign of fear from RHDP leaders who seek to maintain power without facing the electorate. Russian President Vladimir Putin has expressed openness to direct talks with Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky, signaling a potential willingness to discuss peace initiatives. This comes as Russia's strikes continue, including a recent attack in Zaporizhia that killed one woman and injured over 20. Zelensky condemned the attacks as deliberate Russian terror and reiterated Ukraine's proposal for a 30-day ceasefire on strikes against civilian infrastructure. Putin acknowledged that recent military actions had targeted civilians and stated that the Kremlin would consider Zelensky's proposal. The last direct talks between Russia and Ukraine took place early in the conflict, and Ukraine is set to meet with US and European leaders to discuss an unconditional ceasefire. Nadine Menendez, the wife of former New Jersey Senator Robert Menendez, was found guilty by a New York jury on all 15 counts related to a bribery scheme involving cash, gold bars, and luxury gifts. The jury determined she played a significant role in facilitating her husband's acceptance of these bribes in exchange for political favors. Her sentencing is scheduled for June 12th. Robert Menendez was previously convicted in July 2024 and sentenced to 11 years in prison. Prosecutors described the couple as partners in crime, presenting evidence from an FBI search that revealed over $100,000 in gold bars and substantial cash hidden in their home. Defense lawyers argued that the prosecution failed to establish a clear link between the gifts and any official actions taken by the senator. Other individuals involved in the scheme, including a property developer and a halal certification operator, have also been charged and convicted. Passengers had to evacuate a Delta Airlines flight at Orlando International Airport after an engine caught fire while on the tarmac. Delta Flight 1213, which was set to fly to Atlanta with nearly 300 people on board, saw flames and smoke from its right engine. The Airbus A330 carried 282 passengers, 10 flight attendants, and 2 pilots. Emergency services quickly responded and all passengers were safely evacuated using inflatable slides. Fortunately, there were no reported injuries. Delta expressed appreciation for the passengers' cooperation and emphasized that safety is their top priority. The Federal Aviation Administration has announced it will investigate the incident. This event follows several notable aviation incidents in North America this year, including a mid-air collision and a crash landing in Toronto. Thank you for tuning in to Jambo News Global Recap with me, Tracy Wambui. Remember to like, share, and subscribe.